Come and hear the story of Daniel Flynn and the Thankyou Group. I think you might change your opinion on what you buy next time when you're in 7-Eleven or Coles. This man is very inspiring. Daniel Flynn, welcome to Village TV.
Thank you, sure.
And it's great having you on the show. I'm so excited to be sharing a little bit about your story to the business owners out there. Just so I have it right, you started Thankyou Water in 2008, and that changed into Thankyou Group in 2013. What was the idea? Why did you start with water in 2008?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think the beginning of the whole journey with Thankyou and our brand, our concept was so simple. It was based around the world water crisis. So I'd done some research online, and I'd come across these stats that talked about 900 million people still not having access to clean water. And I thought, hey, that's crazy. That's such a big number, and I'd never travelled. I grew up here in Australia, in Melbourne. So in a country of maybe 22 million people, I was like, how do you even comprehend 900 million people? But then there's these individual stories I read and watched of kids who spent their whole day walking to collect water for their family. And I'm not sure what your day's like, but I've never had to do that. And I just had this thought, like here I was at uni, first year uni. I got dreams, I want to get into business, 5-year plan, read a bunch of books, kind of maybe a little bit ambitious, but there'd be other kids who'd want to dream and probably are dreaming, but they're stuck collecting this water, a basic human right. So in that moment, I saw that and then read stats of 4,500 children dying every day from waterborne disease. And that's another stat. But then I had this thought, well, what if that was my story, and what if me or my family were part of the stats? And what would that look like? And so for me, I thought, well, I've got twin sisters, Jess and Mel, that are younger than me. And I thought, imagine watching them die and then finding out they died from waterborne disease, probably the water I got them.
Yeah.
And that was, for me, a moment where I got uncomfortable. A part of me, just to be honest, wanted to walk away from that, just shut the laptop lid and be like, just get on with it.
Yeah,
finish uni, do the thing. But there was another part of me that just couldn't leave it. And when I caught up with a couple of friends, we got talking and we had an idea. I think every business starts with an idea.
Yes.
And we had this light bulb moment, which was around bottled water. And I'm not sure what you think about bottled water, but personally, I think it's a little bit silly. It's a dumb product. We probably shouldn't drink it. Would you agree? We get tap water for free.
Exactly. I was about to say, it's one of those things I would buy at very last resort. Unless, but you're right. You can get water pretty much anywhere, everywhere.
Okay, so the thought was this. Bottled water is silly, but from time to time we need it.
Yes.
Instead of getting a soft drink, we choose a water. We're trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
So we thought, imagine if we could turn that kind of dumb moment, which in fact is a $600 million industry every year in Australia. What if we could turn that moment into bringing clean water to people who needed it? And this whole idea of Thankyou Water started around a brand that existed 100% to fund water projects in developing countries. You buy it, you make an impact. We prove it that simple.
Bang.
So that's where it began.
And then 2013, you evolved and diversified your product range, and you became the Thankyou Group. And now you do water and?
Well, we do a lot. So there's 32 products on the range. 32 products.
So there's 32 ways that other people could give back to developing countries.
That's exactly right. We kind of sat back, and it didn't actually start from the product perspective. It started from when we were on the field, and we saw that water is life-changing, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
There's issues around health, hygiene, sanitation, complex issues around food security, and we looked at that and went, well, Thankyou has been this bridge between a consumer choice and funding a water project, but what if it was more?
Yeah.
What if we could connect consumers with food and health and all that? And so we developed our body care range, so a really premium, natural-based body wash, hand wash lotion, sanitizer, hand soap, and that would then go to fund health and sanitation projects. And then we developed a food range with the help actually of Callum Han from MasterChef. I'm not sure if you remember Callum. He was a young guy, everyone loved him.
Yep.
He won MasterChef All-Stars, joined our team as our Chief Taste Officer, our
nice.
CTO. We have a CTO.
There you go.
As a Callum developed that range, and it's cool because you buy our mueslis, our muesli bars or clusters, and that funds food aid and long-term sustainable food programs. So there's this whole idea that you and me can live every day, just going through the motion, but we can still give in many moments. So
I got to tell you, I did share your story when I first came across the whole story with a couple of my co-workers here at the village, and they were all totally inspired, I have to say. I think that one of the questions that first popped up, that we're all curious about the business model, how it works and how it goes. I'm sure you get this question all the time. We're just really curious as business owners how it all works for you and
Good
the
question.
team.
Now, can I use your cup as a prop?
Please.
All right, so cups. So this is how it works. We have Thankyou Group Proprietary Limited, right?
Yes.
It's our business. So you know what? Yeah. So that pays our staff, all based on the charitable sector. We do our marketing, we make products, all within the group. Now, our business is 100% owned by the Thankyou Charitable Trust. Now that 100% ownership, that's the game changer for us, because it means that no founders or directors can get any profit. So you can get paid a salary to run, because I think we all got to live, that's fair enough.
Yep.
First 3 years we didn't get any, there were no salaries, but that's small business life. That's right? Life. But now we're at a point where it is sustainable, which is cool. I kind of felt like I landed my dream job just to be able to do this every day. Cool. And, but the ownership is important, because when we say it exists 100% for impact, that's proven by the model itself. Yep. So every quarter we distribute profits up to the trust, and every quarter the 100% of them get paid out to our project partners in the field.
Okay.
So this is a model that, when we say to consumers, hey, we need you to back it, it's because, it exists 100% for impact, and that's part of our story.
Cool. And you guys all started as a bunch of students.
Yeah.
And you grew into a business model and helping charity or charitable donations and to think. What has the learning been going from student to charity to business to big retail business in some regards?
Yeah, good question. What is the learning? I mean, every day is learning. It's sort of like, technically, I didn't quite finish my uni degree. Our other two co-founders have, which is good. And one of them is
just a piece of paper.
It's a piece of paper. Yeah, it's a piece of paper. Now, Justine is one of our co-founders. She's my wife.
Okay.
So, and she's
at least one of you have a degree.
Yeah, we'll tell the kids we have a degree. We have a degree, and you need to get a degree. And then Jared, who was one of my best mates, and we knew each other since prep at school. So we're pretty close. But to be honest, the three of us and our whole team have learnt so much. And I was actually sitting down for brekkie the other day with a mate, and this guy leads like a youth group, and look, he's a great leader, but he's no sort of Tony Robbins or kind of global leader. And I've been at all these conferences and heard great things about leadership.
Yep.
I feel like I've read all the books, and he said this one line. We're over brekkie, he goes, leadership is just learning in front of more people. I'm like, hang on, what did she say? His leadership's learning in front of, where'd you get that from? He goes, no, that's just what leadership is. I'm like, did you not get that from anyone? And I Googled it, and I'd never heard it said anywhere. Yes. And I thought about this. Business, leadership, making an idea about it, it's just learning in front of more people. So in answer to your question, we're learning every day, and it's stretching and challenging. But
yeah, I'm sure. And I'm curious, obviously, you're in business with your student mates, with your wife. Yeah. How do you find that as a relationship dynamic involved in that? Because, I've got to say, I'm sure a lot of business owners out will tell you partnerships are a challenge, just even with two friends.
Yeah, you're right. And we've got a pretty special dynamic. It's taken a lot of work, I think, to get it right. And yeah, it's challenging at times. Every business relationship is, but I think one cool thing is because there is this deep trust that kind of goes deeper than just the business. Now, I know everyone says don't go into business with friends, and I kind of get that, but at the same time, when there is that ultimate trust there, you've got each other's back, you can do some pretty remarkable things. My grandpa said this one thing. He's passed away, and he was really successful in business, but he only ever gave me one piece of advice, right? And
wow. It was one to live by, it's worth it.
And it was a funny piece of advice, but he said, find someone for your finances, find someone you trust. That was it. Now, at first it's like, well, that's not huge advice, but you know what? The trust thing's the key word. Yeah. And that's our journey, and I trust Jared, trust Justine, my life. And so it is powerful, I think.
Nice. Interesting learning for you guys out there, I'm sure. Let's get into something a bit more exciting as well. You're now stocked in Coles, 7-Eleven, and multiple other retailers. Yeah. I'm sure you can rattle them off.
Yeah, Woolworths, just a little plug for everyone. Come on, brand plugs, yeah.
So there's multiple places for you to go buy the 32 product range. How did you get into them? How did you find that? How did you break into the retail space?
Yeah, it's a good question. And people that are new to sort of our journey and our brand, at first appearance, it's like, wow, a lot of the major retailers on board, that must be easy. But I think when we're all in business, we know actually, it doesn't matter if you're in retail or where you are, it's actually hard getting the sale.
Yes.
It's hard getting a deal across the line. You can sit in a meeting after meeting, you get excitement, people are sort of shaking your hand, love your idea.
Yeah.
But getting the sale, the order,
Yep.
it's the toughest thing. And to be honest,
Getting shelf space.
Stuff like that. So we had 3 years.
The one not done there, but somewhere up here.
That's exactly right. And I think what complicates it for us, and I suppose every business has challenges, one of ours is the fast-moving consumer good industry, which is where we're in, is a little bit competitive.
But
Has a couple of major global players, and they're pretty good at what they do.
they're not bad. They're not bad.
They're a couple of thousand staff are pretty good at what they do, and the budgets are there, and that does create a challenge. And I think our first 3 years were incredibly humbling because we just got knockback after knockback after knockback.
Yeah.
And even when we nearly got a deal, something would happen. A competitor would knock us out, or a commitment wouldn't come through. And 3 years in, we looked at it and we thought we got this great idea. We think it could change the world. We think I talk to all my friends and family. They're like, I would definitely buy it. So then we go and tell a retailer, hey, now all our friends reckon they would buy it. And we're on Facebook, and they're like, yeah, but you're in a market where brands invest millions of dollars in above the line, below the line marketing. I had to learn the terms, what they mean. But you know what I mean? Like, how could you really stack up? And so at year 3, we did something that changed the game completely for us. And it was a bold move, but we booked a meeting with 7-Eleven Australia. And 2 weeks prior to that meeting, we posted a video on YouTube, and we shared it on Facebook. And the video said, 2 weeks from today, we're presenting Thankyou Water to 7-Eleven. And right now we're asking you, jump onto their Facebook wall and say, 7-Eleven, if you use stock Thankyou Water, I'd buy it. Because every retailer, their question, and it's not even in the retail game, every business is like, yeah, but how do you know it will sell?
Yeah.
So we thought, well, what if we could, instead of going in that room and promising the world, what if we could deliver it before the meeting?
Yeah.
The thing went viral, hundreds of posts, people recorded videos of them singing, dancing, and rapping. It was just one of those like internet moments where it just blew up. And the project covered our story, Sunrise covered it. Carrie Bickmore's on there saying, hey, everyone, head to Facebook, there's a big petition. And it just blew up. And we walked in 7-Eleven, and it was an interesting tactic. Obviously, it looked like ambush marketing. Yeah. It wasn't the plan. I mean, it was just proof of concept.
Yeah, but it worked.
It worked. 7-Eleven ranged it. Went on to outsell a lot of major brands, and 7-Eleven have become one of the sort of strongest partners we have, really backing us. They've come to the field. They've seen the projects. Wow. And they're in, and met franchisees within the business and the owners of the business, and they're so pumped to be part of it. And I think something like over 50,000 people now have Safe Water. It might be 60,000 now, just from them stocking it.
Wow.
What an incredible story, and to be part of something bigger. So I think that the game changer was actually going to the customer and saying, will you back this in?
Yes.
Not, we have a nice idea, but actually proving the concept.
It's great. It's great. The credibility comes with it.
Yeah, it does.
Fantastic. I mean, as you said, 3 years. It's a long time to be sticking around, hoping someone's going to buy your water.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Was there any time during those 3 years that you thought, hell, this is ridiculous?
It's a funny question.
I mean, did you think, I need to get out of this and go back to university, or do I need to get a job?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sure there's business owners out there who've been in it and struggled.
Totally. I think people ask that question, and sometimes they're surprised with the answer. I know for me personally, and definitely for Jared and Jazz, there were most weeks, or at least every couple of weeks, where we're like, that's it. We've had enough. Someone else said no, or something else happened, or no, that's it. This is such a waste of time. And I reckon I walked away from it, like mentally, multiple times, but didn't fully walk because something stopped me. And it was the why, this sort of deeper, why are we doing this? It's not about product. I mean, it is a product, but it's not about product. It's about people. if we could make this work, the impact could be remarkable. And I think our team just got together and we would just pick each other up. And thankfully, we had wise team members who would say things like, we should learn from this setback. And I'm like, no, I just want to hit people. But no, that's not appropriate. But, like people, like we learn from these moments. And I'm so grateful because, we're sitting here having a chat.
Yeah.
It's working. But I think nothing of significance is built just by chance. It takes a lot of people. Not just me. You meet our team members, committed, kind of diehard fans to Thankyou.
Yeah.
And they won't give up. We won't give up.
Wow. And you've now crossed that barrier, I guess. You've gone from a barrier of no going back. And it's just where to from here. We've got these projects, water's out there, you're making people healthier. And tell me, before we go on to your future goals and aspirations for Thankyou and where the group's heading, why don't you just tell us quickly about some of the projects you're involved in, where the projects are, and how they're delivering?
Yeah, cool. So look, we currently work in 15 countries, and that is expanding all the time, and we're also looking at programs here in Australia. But essentially, this is about connecting you with global poverty and extreme poverty. And so we work in predominantly in parts of Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, but we also work as close to home as Timor-Leste and then as far as Haiti. And we fund everything from, in our water projects, it's wells, filters, pipelines, and there's about 15 different solutions we fund in that. In food, we fund immediate food aid, and we fund long-term sustainable food programs because I think a lot of people say, well, hang on, you can't just do handouts, and you can't.
No.
But at the same time, and we've been in parts of Kenya and Burundi where we've looked and we've gone, no, we get it. If these people don't get food today, it's over.
Yeah.
So there is a need for that, but more importantly, there's a need for the long-term solution. So we're funding sustainable farming program and micro-enterprise. And then in the health and hygiene, we're funding toilets. We're funding health and hygiene training. And people are like, what's that? And it's a funny one because part of us, like the marketing part is like, well, why don't we sell soap and give soap? Like, buy a soap, give a soap.
Yes.
Cool. Sell 1 million bars of soap, give 1 million bars of soap. But we've got to actually go, no, what does this community need? They potentially don't need us to dump 1 million bars of soap and say, hey, we're helping.
Yeah.
We work with some of the largest NGOs in the world, groups like Oxfam, Red Cross, World Vision, Care Australia. These guys are experts in development, and they come forward with sustainable plans. And health and hygiene training is it's like the software behind the hardware. So you could fund a well, and let's say you got a well in front of you, but if you drink from that water with dirty hands, you may as well drink dirty water.
Yes.
So the health and hygiene training is like the soft cost. It's this training that actually the combination of the software and the hardware makes for that transformation, and it's not easy.
No.
It isn't, because I've been in communities where people have talked about it's the spirits in the trees that have cursed us, and that superstition, but see, germs in this Western culture, it's something we're taught about from a very young age.
Yes.
But actually, this is a thinking process that our partners work with communities, and we fund that. So that's the programs that have raised over 2.2.
Must be tough trying to work out which ones to support and which ones to.
Yeah.
There must be a good line of people wanting cash for stuff. So go buy more water, I guess.
Yes, you said that, not me. You said that. It's interesting. We didn't just pick a country and be like, oh, we've travelled there or we like there, and so that's a country we want to just help there. We said to the sort of the global development community, where do you need funding? Now, we're not as big as we want to be yet. We want the funding to be massive, and when we see government funding dropping and all that, it's disappointing, but we think, no, Thankyou could almost prop that up, and we could get there. So we say to development partners, where do you need it? And where they need it, that's where we look at funding, and it's working. We've raised $2.2 million for projects, but it's kind of the beginning. A year and a bit ago, that was 500,000, and the year before that was maybe 100. So it's kind of picking up, finally, after a bit of a journey.
And what's been your greatest thank you so far?
My greatest thank you. A couple of stories come to mind. I was visiting a project in Burundi, which is a country not many people have heard of, just next to Kenya. sort of the non-popular sort of country next door, and
There's not many. Yeah.
Coincidentally, they don't receive a lot of funding for aid and development, and we were like, we're up for it. And I met this boy named Vianney. He was 12 years old at the time, and it might have been 15. And he said this, and and Justine was with me, and Jared, and like we were a mess. Like, so this kid's looking, and through a translator, and he's lifting his hand. So I didn't know what he was saying until the translator said.
Okay.
And he basically said, when I saw your trucks coming, and I think he meant our cars, we saw our trucks coming. He goes, I wanted to lift them up above my head just to say how much I appreciate and to say thank you. I don't know even how to respond to that. I mean, it's such a kid answer. I want to lift the trucks up. And this idea of lifting up to say thank you. And for me, it was, I mean, look, we know that by bringing someone access to safe water, it's not like their whole life is now going to be perfect forever.
No.
All it means is that the basic human right, like water, is taken care of. So now they've got a real chance to dream, chase the dreams, and make it a reality. So it's just...
Go to school.
Go to school, exactly. It's a small partnership, but that moment for me was like, yeah, I'll never forget that. There's a few more.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's some really good stories that you've taken with you.
Yeah.
So what's the game plan from here? Where's Thankyou Group growing, and how would you like to see it in the next few years?
What's the game plan? That's a good question. I hope no competitors are listening. Hope they're not listening. Okay, so
competition's good sometimes.
Competition's
And
healthy.
I'm sure you experience. I mean, I'm sure Coca-Cola is a competitor of yours now.
Oh, they're out there.
They're
out there. It's really important to us at Thankyou. We say we're driven by impact. Everything is about impact, and so we're seeing as this model scales and grows, impact's growing. So right now our team are working really hard around product development. New product development. The more product we sell and the more products we get to market, the more impact we make. But it's interesting, and I think in business, when we talk about focus, it's so it's such a challenge for a growing business. Like, we've grown over 200% for like 4 years in a row, and that sounds cool in an interview, but it feels hard. You've got staff, you've got growth issues, but for us as a team, we're focused on one thing: making great product. I mean, if the product's not remarkable, we'll buy it once.
Yes.
And then we'll go back to something we actually like. So we even though we're all about cause,
still got to deliver.
We've got to deliver. So we say, number one, the product has to be better than competitors. Number two, by buying it, you're changing the world. Number three, we'll prove that. That's our formula. And so we're working on a lot of new product development. We've got our next big kind of gameplay this probably November or later this year. It's our next big move, and it'll be bold, and I think it'll challenge a lot of traditional thinking, but it's we're going to have a crack at it. So watch this space.
Watch the space, totally. And if people want to get involved with Thankyou, how can they?
Good question. I mean, look, point one, if you're at the supermarket or 7-Eleven or whatever, just buy the product. And buying the product is powerful because if it gets in your home, if it gets in your hand, you can help share. This is literally a word of mouth movement. I mean, we don't have the advertising dollars. We don't have all the stuff you're meant to have.
No.
But if we've got people telling people, what more do you need? So that's powerful. I think, look, follow us on our social media channels. I'm not going to get too pluggy, but you'll figure it out. It's not too hard. It's not too hard these days. But I think, later this year, this next move is bold and it needs people to back it. So have a look. If you're up for it, join us.
Good. Yeah. Nice. I think for a case of, it's an easy way and an uncomplicated way to know that by making a small action, you can have a big consequence somewhere else that needs it and wants to be, needs it badly. So congratulations, well done on a fantastic movement. And I call it a movement. I don't want to call it a product. I think it's not even a product. It's just it's a movement that people want to be part of, that they feel connected to. And I think that's the most important thing about it. So Daniel, Flynn, thank you so much for being part of Village TV. It's been inspiring learning about your story, and I hope the listeners out there will feel the same. Dan, I've got last question.
Yeah.
How do you feel like, how do you think business owners out there, the guys listening to this, what do you think they can take away from what you've done and put into their business?
It's an interesting question. And I think a lot of people look at our model and we're so driven and we're 100% for cause, and then people are like, well, good for you guys, nice, but what can I really do? And my challenge to people is we can actually all make an impact.
Yeah.
And the first trip to Cambodia we did, I felt discouraged because we'd only helped fund a few water projects for a few hundred people, but when I met a family, I walked away going, you know what, if everything we did was for that one person or one family, it was worth it.
Yeah.
So my challenge to people is think about what can you do as a business locally, maybe globally, to make an impact. Because I'll never forget this guy, and we have hundreds of stories like this, but this guy who shoots with this special video camera donated $78,000 worth of his services to shoot an ad for us for free. So he's a for-profit business.
Yep.
He donated his time. Other people got on board. They shot this ad. Channel 7, Channel 9 played it for free. And at the end of it all, I said, thank you. He goes, no, thank you. And I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
This is awkward. And he said, no, but I got an opportunity to do what I do. But in the process, I was part of making a difference. I was making an impact. And here's one story.
Yeah.
It was a camera business. We've got another guy who flew a helicopter one day with a sign for free for us. He chipped in. He runs a helicopter company, but he was part of it. And I think we can all make an impact. And don't get caught up thinking it has to look one certain way.
Yeah.
Everyone can do something. So that's my challenge.
There you go. Everyone can be part of the movement. So, Daniel, thank you very much. It's wonderful having you on Village TV. Make sure you join the Thank You group, and they'll see the products in store and get involved. That's it from Village TV. Another great episode. Make sure you subscribe and be part of Village TV. And we look forward to many more great interviews coming. And good luck, Daniel. We look forward to watching this new story come out later on this year.
Thank you.
Cheers for now. Bye from Village TV.